First come, first served, a phrase so commonly used that it's rarely examined from a critical standpoint. Everyone accepts that the early bird gets the worm, but why? A first come, first served basis is standard for dealing with queues of people who require a service rendered without implicating bias or advantage. It's easy to understand and operate, and it's generally accepted among throngs of people. If you see a line leading in the where you want to go, you go get in line. Simple, right? In most instances, it's appropriate in preventing the renderer of services, such as ticket offices, store cashiers, or food providers, from being overwhelmed. In school registration, besides credit hour restrictions, those who are more serious and committed to their schooling will be the first prepared to register for their classes, ensuring that they will be admitted. In the workplace, some tasks are for whomever signs up for them first, meaning those assignments will go to those who are most serious about them. Advantages to this is more pay for whomever is on top of wanting more work, and the employer is ensured the job will be done. In hospital emergency rooms, people are generally treated on a first-come, first-served basis, but the triage specialists are able to prioritize their patients and treat those in dire need first. Typically, people don't get too upset having to wait a little longer if someone is on the verge of death and gets treated first. Restaurants in New York City, among other swanky places, are implementing a no reservations policy, eradicating the option for patrons to reserve a table and a time, and treating things as first come, first served. While some are against it, there are a lot of people for it, like Mr. Chang, who owns a series of first come, first served restaurants in New York's Midtown. By not taking reservations, he says, there is a certain lack of pretension. It's saying that we just want people to eat something delicious, and that people aren't there for the scene, or anything else but the food, which seems a noble cause for a business who is more concerned about the quality of the food that they serve rather than, say, a Yelp review from someone unhappy having to wait outside. One such restaurant line yielded this response. It was like a frat party circa 1997. There's a keg of cheap beer, lots of M&M on the playlist, and nobody really has their shit together. Not everyone is happy about a no preference policy. Having no reservations means that customers have to plan ahead for their evening dinner, since no preferential treatment is present. If they want to eat at 9, they plan to arrive at 8 to compensate for having to wait. And more often, this results in a lucrative increase in revenue from the in-house bars from folks having drinks during their wait. The plan can have a downside as well. Those who feel that they should be giving preferential treatment are denied that, and some have said that they won't be dining in these places any longer. It's been deemed unbecoming to be waiting in a line with everyone else, and taking a client to a swanky dinner in those conditions can be seen as cheap. Joe Biden is not about to wait behind me in a line to a popular eatery. The other side to this is the restaurants are saving nearly $125,000 a year in lost revenue from no-show reservations, and from having to pay reservationists. Those are people whose specific job is to schedule reservations, to stand around for 12 hours a day at $30,000 a year. Lines for restaurants can also get in the way of neighboring businesses or residential areas, which most places remedy by placing a Respect Our Neighbors sign along the queue cordons and assigning managers to help keep the noise down. So far, such tactics seem to be working. The ideology of first come, first served is something that on the surface seems to make sense, but presents underlying consequences when taken far out of the context for which it's intended. Wherever a line is formed, it seems the people waiting adopt something close to an entitlement complex, where they're automatically superior to the person just behind them, and so on down the line. Nevertheless, there are times when that entitlement attitude takes a turn for the worst, and people can become extremely territorial to the imaginary spot in line that they've staked out, and use extreme measures to defend it or covet other spots further up the line. We see examples of this every year on the Friday after Turkey Day, where people who have been camping outside of their desired shopping areas for days turn riotous as soon as the doors to the store are unlocked. Grown people shove and fight each other, take others' shopping carts, cut in line, and in general act like spoiled children in complete disregard of courtesy or respectable behavior in order to secure great deals on much-wanted merchandise. Often the much-coveted items will sell out, leaving frustrated consumers without what they've basically gone through hell to acquire. Inevitably, the news reports the following weekend will contain stories of people trampled under stampedes of shoppers, or being pepper sprayed by each other or security personnel. There have been deaths resulting from the melee of crazed consumers, and even aggression and fights over parking spots. I spoke with Jill Andrews, who saw firsthand from an employee standpoint what the chaos of Black Friday looks like.
Hi, my name is Jill Andrews. I worked for the corporation of Elder Bierman for 2 years doing the cash office. So I had the experience of working 2 Black Fridays, and I have a lot of knowledge about what goes on those days and the sales and what people do to get the sales that they want. So,
what do they do exactly?
well, when people get together, right when the doors open, there's like a sense of aggression that people have to and get what they want for the price that it's advertised. And I think as much as it drives business for the store, it can be really harmful for, people that are just trying to shop or not try to be aggressive when shopping. Mm-hmm. And
what sorts of things did you see?
Well, people would steal each other's shopping carts. People would jump in, cutting. Serious problem. People would run through the store. They would, leave their stuff unattended, and people would take it out of their basket if it. Yeah, all kinds of aggressive shopping behavior.
What do you think when you see videos on the news or otherwise of Black Friday brawls, things that get out of hand?
I think it's obnoxious, honestly. I think that there's really no point in rushing and pushing someone over or risking anyone's well-being to get, any kind. It seems really unreal to me that people would go to these lengths just to get something for a cheap deal.
Can you think of any solutions to these problems? Is there any sort of crowd control measures you can think of that would maybe help some of these horrible things that are happening to people?
Well, obviously, stronger security at the doors throughout the store could help. But I think the overall message of Black Friday should be that if the store carries a certain amount of items, people won't feel the need to rush in there because there's enough for everybody to go around, and they won't have to each other just to get one of 5 TVs that may be a really good deal. If there was enough for everybody, then people wouldn't feel the need to get up, at the crack of dawn or the night before and push over an elderly woman at a TV. It seems really unreal to me.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Jill.
Not a problem.
Even more chilling are tragedies that occur over something sought to provide a great time out, that end in death. Most concerts have first-come, first-served general seating, and sure, mosh pits and shoving do happen occasionally. It just comes with the territory. But what happens when that general admission area is for one of the biggest touring bands of the time that everyone wants to see up close? The result is, often enough, a mass rush towards the stage that crushes the people in front and prevents them from even getting up to save themselves. It was December of 1973, and the Brit band The Who were playing in Cincinnati. In the top 3 biggest bands at that time, predictably the stage was rushed as everyone wanted to get closer, and resulted in the deaths of 11 people. It was the biggest concert disaster in American history, caused by first-come, first-served senseless greed. The following clip from Mojo.com highlights this tragedy and a few others caused by the same tragic turn of events.
The Who Tour, 1979. A year after Keith Moon's death, The Who experienced more grief when 11 fans were crushed while trying to attend one of their shows.
Did they know that they were trampling on these people? Yes, they know. They were just trampling right on over them like they didn't care.
Mistaking sound check for the real thing, thousands of ticket holders rushed the unopened doors of the Riverfront Coliseum. The venue's inadequate crowd control methods and first-come, first-served festival seating also caused at least 26 other people to get hurt.
If it happened inside the hall, I don't think I would ever play again.
So what can we do about this? The need for places of business to make money will always remain, so the answer to the question of safety for large, first-come, first-served crowds is proper crowd control. OSHA has released a fact sheet for use by institutions who may experience surges in crowds, and it offers planning and setup advice. A few of the things it suggests are proper partitions and hiring additional staff, including trained security personnel for their own safety and that of the consumers or concert goers. There need to be large, legible signs directing people where to go, and in the case of Black Friday riots, more supply to meet the demand of the sales offered, so people are less apt to feel the need to fight for those amazing TV prices. For now, we just have to trust that the stores heed possible life-saving procedures and protect ourselves as best as possible in overcrowded situations. One thing is for sure, though, the foundation of a first-come, first-served narrative is built on common human decency, and once we forget that, it's from there that situations degenerate into tragic news stories.